I'm so sad and I need to share this with you. I haven't lost a patient in over 10 years, and I actually worked in the ER trauma center where you would think I would get used to it, but you never do. Many of you know I now work in the urgent care. I see mostly cough, colds, flu, COVID, broken bones, maybe some rashes. Well, this lady came in this past weekend. She had fallen 1 hour and 45 minutes before I saw her. 72 years young, and she had been out walking on a beautiful sunny day when she tripped and fell. She had the instinct to put her hands out in front of her on the sidewalk, and she actually showed me the scratches on the palms of her hand. She pulled down her mask, and then she showed me her chin where she had scraped it a little. There was no blood, no broken nose, no black eyes, and her scalp was completely intact. As she continued to talk to me, saying, "I did not hit my head, but I have a terrible headache," that's when I started to move into action. I put a C-collar on her neck. I went out of the room and said to anybody, "Call the ambulance." And then she said, "I'm going to vomit." So I grabbed a vomit bag for her. Why? Because people who fall all the time and do not think they hit their head when they actually do, and a terrible headache means serious trouble. Then she lost consciousness and her pupils became fixed and dilated. Obviously, I could not revive her as her husband sat there in shock. Let's talk about timing, because this is critical. And here are some things I want you to learn about the fall, any fall, so you never have to go through this. Number one, she did not think she hit her head. However, she had a headache, which meant either she injured her neck by her head bouncing off the ground, or she did hit her head indeed. Most of us providers assume you hit your head until proven otherwise. Number two, she had no bleeding and no injury on her scalp, which means the damage is internal until we know otherwise with a CT scan. People assume they're fine if they don't see an outside head injury. We providers assume no outie means a serious innie. Number three, she waited too long. When you fall and you develop a headache or nausea or blurred vision, timing is critical. It is assumed you hit your head whether you think you did or not. Number four, she came to the urgent care instead of the emergency room. You will never wait in the ER when you say you fell, have a terrible headache, or feel nauseous or blurred vision. To any of us who have worked in the ER, this is a true emergency. Never play it down, please. Number five, in the Patient Best Medical History book, I drive home the point that you have to know where the ERs are and where to go to. Many of you live in cities where there's multiple hospitals, but there is a trauma center that specializes in head injuries. Do you know where it is? Fortunately for us, it was across the street. But what you need to do is call the ambulance or fire stations and ask them which hospital specializes in what things. And if they say just call us, then I want you to thank them, hang up the phone, and call another fire station. You need to know who specializes in what things, especially a stroke or head injury. And that's the ER you always want to go to, even if you call 911. Now, you all remember the case of Natasha Robinson, who was skiing when she fell and hit her head. I think it's Natasha Richardson, actually. Fell and hit her head. And never assume that it's going to be ruled out. Time is of the essence. She did pass away. And all she said was, "Hey, I just have a headache." Unfortunately, this wonderful woman did not fare well either. The neurosurgeon was called in, but the bleed was 1 hour and 45 minutes too long. And I might add that she was not on blood thinners. She was quite healthy. If I sound angry right now, it's probably because I am. And maybe I'm going through the stages of grief over losing somebody so unnecessarily. Which brings me to another point, and rarely will you see me this upset. But in 15 years with caregivers, I'm telling you, your problems are going to arise unless you know what you're doing. Medical care, mental status changes, legal and financial issues, home living, safety situations, you're going to encounter them all unless you pay attention. I walk down this road with people thousands of times. I've seen hundreds of problems, and I'm telling you, I can prepare you for what's going to be ahead so there are no surprises. When you say, oh, that'll never happen to me, I strongly suggest that you don't say it. If I had $1 for every time my patients and their caregivers are shocked, I can't tell you. I just shake my head with sadness and anger over what I see, because I see it and you don't. I've written the Ultimate Caregiver's Guide and the Patient Best Medical History book for you to get with the program. Stop fooling around with your life and the life of another human being. Aging is a serious matter. Get serious with your job responsibilities. You're taking them on, and there's consequences of frustration and danger that lie ahead of you. We'll talk soon.